Good morning, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to another Toolbox Tuesday. It is Tuesday the oh my goodness, is it the 24th or the 25th today? I think it's the 24th. Anyways, welcome. I do hope you're keeping well. If you are chiming in live, welcome. Thank you for joining me. And if you're following up with the replay, thank you for taking the time to come back and see me. Today, I wanted to speak to reminders. Reminders, I think, are so important for me. And, that is one of the things that I remember most when I sat in circle with the Callanish Society. For 2 years, I went to those circles, and I drove out to Vancouver on Wednesday evenings. And I sat in circle with Janie facilitating, who is the founder of the Callanish Society. And she would often start each circle with a beautiful reading, often the same one. And what struck me, not necessarily was the reading, but it was more about her always speaking about how we need reminders. We always need reminders because we are human and we are perfectly imperfect humans. And there's a beautiful reading by Paula Underwood Spencer. And she says it well. She says, if you want to be truly understood, you need to say everything 3 times in 3 different ways. Once for each ear and once for the heart. Again, I often am hard on myself and expecting that I should do better. And again, if you've ever heard the expression shoulding on yourself, it often doesn't serve us. Shoulding on myself does not help me. Life is a journey. And what I find helpful is to surround myself with community. Community, good friends, support groups, women, and men's circles where we can have these reminders about that we're all on this journey together. When we come together and share, hear others speak of their pain and their sorrow and what they're going through, and even their celebrations, all of a sudden we're reminded that we're not alone. We're not the only ones that are going through difficult times. And often I'm reminded that my life is pretty good. There's a lot of people going through a lot of difficult times. And then when we're there in circle, we find ourselves being held. And often when we are in dark times, there's people that can hold space for us. And then when others are in dark times, then we find ourselves holding space for them. And it's amazing how it always works out beautifully. It's such an amazing balance. I remember one evening when I was driving home from the Callanish Society, I'd been sitting in a circle that evening, and it was a really dark circle. There was many people in the group that were living with and dying from stage 4 cancer, and they were speaking of their losses and also speaking of some of their determination to live. And it was really interesting to be able to come out of that circle and find myself again with those reminders to live. And I remember my brother phoning me when I was on the way home, and he had all these things he wanted to say, and I spoke first. And then my brother said, well, all of a sudden, the things that I needed to say don't really feel that important anymore. And it wasn't that what my brother had to say wasn't important. It's just his perspective had shifted, because I had just spoke of these many people that were living with and dying from stage 4 cancer, and all of a sudden the little things didn't seem so terrible anymore. You know, so what I would say is that, you know, I regularly sit in circles. I regularly sit in many circles. I have 2 women's groups that I belong to, that I go to every second week. I go to this wonderful thing called Dance Temple on Sundays, sorry. And before and after we dance, we sit in circle. I also belong to the Masterpiece community that often sits in circle, which is online, which again is really interesting to me, because I had a story about being online and using Zoom, and there was a belief that you couldn't connect the same way when you're online that you do when you are in person. And yes, I get it. Having a hug and being there in physical, in body, is more special for sure. But yet I can honestly say from my heart that the experience that I've had being in the magic community and sitting in circle, even my counselor that Marty and I go and see, he's on Quadra. Often Marty is on in Surrey, and I'm here in the Comox Valley, and yet Matthew, our counselor, is able to really do a beautiful job of reconnecting Marty and I. And so yeah, being online isn't necessarily, and even just me being here today, like again, like it's beautiful that we can make these connections. Trust me, I have my queries around the internet, and you know, my amount of time my kids spend on devices, and yet the amazing thing is the ability to connect. So I would say that yeah, this is why I am creating Transformation Tuesdays. It is going to be a beautiful, amazing group that is going to be every Tuesday evenings, and it's going to be at 7 o'clock to 8:30. It is going to be for women, and it is a space to come together, to share stories, to be heard, to connect, to be held, and to even just show up if that's all that you feel called to do. And I am so excited to be launching this program on February the 7th. So it will be online. It will be on Zoom. I will be sending a sign-up form very soon. Look for it on Facebook. I also email it out to a few people that I have connections with via email. Again, it's starting February 7th. And yeah, it will be an ongoing group from February right through till the end of June. And so I do hope that you will come and join me. It will be a subscription. And yeah, reach out if you have any questions. And again, you know, my what I would say again today is it's about the reminders. You know, again, we are human. We need these reminders. We are perfectly imperfect. And when we can sit in circle and sit in groups together, we are reminded that we are all going through stuff, and having others there to hold space for us, all of a sudden we know that we can move through things that we never believed we could. And all of a sudden, there we are doing amazing things because we're held by others. So I hope you will join me. I look forward to seeing you again next Tuesday. Sending lots of love to you. Have a fantastic week. Love to you all. Bye.